A very good morning to one and all present here. I, Ritu Singh, feels extremely privileged to welcome you all on behalf of Geeta Ratan International Business School in the inaugural program of our 15th National Case Analysis and Presentation Competition. Geeta Ratan International Business School was established in the year 2004. GIBS is affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi, and it is approved by Bar Council of India for Law Program and All India Council for Technical Education for Management Programs. GIBS is currently offering programs like MBA, MBA International Business, MCA, BBA LLB, BA LLB, and BBA First and Second Shift. GIBS has been graded A by National Assessment and Accreditation Council in second cycle. GIBS has been rated A+ by State Fee Regulatory Committee, a fee committee of Government of NCT of Delhi, and rated highest grading A by Joint Inspection Committee of Government of NCT of Delhi and GGS-IP University. GIBS has been rated grade A by Academic Audit Cell of GGS-IP University consecutively from past 8 years. Also, GIBS has been rated as number 2 Pan-India by Times Business School Survey consecutively for the year 2018 and 19. Now, before we proceed further, let's give tribute to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, music, art, and wisdom. Thank you for this beautiful performance to start an event. Now, Casefolio 2021 is an annual case analysis and presentation competition organized by Geeta Ratan International Business School that brings together students from different business schools to get opportunity to learn an application of the theoretical knowledge by analyzing a real-life situation so that practical solutions are identified as a team and compete against the other teams from various participating business schools in a dynamic, stimulating environment. In view of all these, the main objective of the competition is to provide a platform to students across the country to sharpen their analytical and problem-solving skills, which focus on understanding, analytical ability, and judgment, to develop confidence in dealing effectively with a wide array of difficult situations faced during organizational decision-making, to develop teamwork and leadership qualities among the students. It is our privilege to have with us today Professor M. Akbar and Professor Padmakali Banerjee as guest of honor for the 15th National Case Analysis and Presentation Competition. Now, let me take the opportunity to introduce our first guest of honor, Professor M. Akbar. Professor M. Akbar is currently Advisor to Strategy, Innovation and Entrepreneurship area at BIMTech, Greater Noida. He has done his MSc and MPhil in Statistics from Aligarh Muslim University and MPhil and PhD in Entrepreneurship from JNU, New Delhi. He has been a scholar, consultant, teacher, and trainer in the strategic management and entrepreneurship area in IIM Lucknow for past 29 years with 33 years of experience of teaching, training in Indian and foreign institutions. He had been Managing Director of IIM Lucknow Enterprise Incubation Center for 3 years. He has conducted and participated in many FDPs and consulted with top 100 companies management program in India and abroad. About 15 students have completed or in the process of completing their thesis work. He teaches strategy at doctoral and masteral level. He has authored 2 books on entrepreneurship and strategy. He has written over 60 articles, research papers, and 40 case studies published in refereed national and many top-tier international journals and conferences, and also received 1 Best Paper Award and 2 Best Paper nominations in international conferences. He is on the editorial board of 3 academic journals and is a reviewer of top-tier national, international journals, conferences like SMS, AIB, and AOM, IGOEM, Management Decisions, and British Food Journal. The key area of research are strategy, entrepreneurship, new venture, family business, corporate venturing, emerging markets, network alliances, diversification, and internalization. His managerial expert consists of work in Income Tax Department, IFCI, Chairman Kendriya Vidyalaya Management Committee, MDP Chair, Chair SM Area, Dean IIM Lucknow, and Managing Director, Lucknow Incubator. Sir, we welcome you here, and we are privileged to have you here with us today. Thank you. I would now request Professor M. Akbar to address the audience. Sir, please.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir, perfectly.
Yeah, Professor B.S. Hoti, Director, Geeta Ratan International Business School. Professor Padmakali Banerjee, the PVC, Amity University, Haryana. The faculty members, students, and participants. I think case method, I think we need to highlight the context. There are, I think, 4 areas that I'm going to touch upon during next 10 minutes time. One is the important, I think, important, should I say, the issue that you learn from cases. I think because wisdom cannot be taught. So that's wisdom comes from, of course, it needs information, knowledge, experience, and the judgment. And that can come, I think, from really going through a life cycle. However, one can really go to the classroom and can compress some of these things. And case method certainly is one of the mechanisms which bridges the gap between information, knowledge, experience, and judgment. The most important thing possibly in the management field is the reaching what you call the wisdom to have right kind of judgments in the uncertain situations. Because typically I think managers in their real life face an enormous amount of uncertainties and challenges. And to train them, I think the best way is to really, there are other methods certainly, but I think the case method is proved to be the best because firstly, it's a professional discipline and it is really experiential. There are a variety of other methods. You have, for instance, lecture, which is a traditional method. It's been, I think, estimated that typically retention in the lectures to the students is 15 to 20%. Whereas I think, of course, if you do experiment, you can get absorbed and have better percentage of retention. And I think the case is something which builds not only the knowledge, but the skill and the power of judgment, which I think is very, very crucial. And that's one reason why I think typical MBAs are really paid better than many other disciplines, because they deal with uncertainty. And there is a, I think, a real outcome for the firms or the companies or even NGOs. And this applies to actually in all the areas, including government. So unfortunately, this is not a science. It's a social science. There is a human angle. So I think the facts and the interpretations are two different things. And much of the life of a manager revolves around, perceptions, human behavior, and there's not the, I think some kind of objective facts. The same person can change in different contexts. Therefore, the predictability of an environment, including human beings, I think is extremely difficult. And this is where the judgment comes in, and this is where the wisdom comes in. So you can, of course, have now simulation, which to some extent replace the or supplement the case methodology. Besides the, your traditional lecture method, then you have, I think people have gone to experiment even with, theoretical, integrating with theoretical disciplines, where you can theaterize, but they're also one kind of case form. So therefore, I think getting into the case method is really important to understand what a case is. Firstly, let's look, I think, at the types of cases. There are a variety of cases that we come across. The first category of cases is, of course, the research-based. Typically, people go and study a particular situation or an event or an individual or a firm, and then come out with some kind of theoretical propositions, which can be verified at a larger scale. So most of the theories are built through the cases. Of course, I think your survey methods can also uncover some of the truth, but this must be known, very well known in advance, because you can't design, I think, interview or schedules without knowing what you are doing. So it requires the prior knowledge. The cases, however, can be, I think, you can explore through the cases the actual behavior of people in real life. So where the interpretation actually, to a greater extent, of course, lies with the individual himself. So the best case methods are where you can actually get to the feelings of people. And this is where the, I think, qualitative research comes in. The second issue is the, I think, the cases that are more, I think, teaching based. So teaching learning case methodology here, I think you're not discovering a theory. You are actually demonstrating a theory or a concept or a practice. And therefore, it bridges the gap between theory and practice. So that's, I think, very important for compressing, I think, myriad of knowledge from the case studies, inculcating them to the student. As you repeatedly go through the cycles of one case after the other, if you have done some dozen cases or 2 dozen cases, I think you start developing so-called judgment. And therefore, your speed increases of decision making, which obviously managers typically do not have the, I think, time to really think about the too much information, and at the same time, a lot of missing information. So eventually, I think the repeated practice makes you, it becomes a craft. So repeated practice makes you knowledgeable about the cases. So that is the, I think, the second part that I needed to highlight. Now, what's the structure of a typical teaching case? Typically, I think you begin with a kind of problem or a quotation that's happening currently in a particular company or the context-specific case. There you can get to know exactly what are you expecting. So it could be a case studies could be at the national level. I mean, a nation can be a part of study. It could be a company. It could be an NGO. It could be government. But the point is, in the beginning, the opening paragraph actually gives you an idea as to what you are, I think, up to. So it gives an indication where you're likely to go into the case. It is like, opening sentence telling, I think, a situation where the incumbent or the protagonist is really struggling with an issue. And then you get into details of the industry or the context, whether it's national context or the industry context. And then you have, I think, the company context and the competition context. And then I think you describe the context into details. And then you bring the company issue back where you're left in the introduction. And you start giving, some kind of brief history of the company or the organization under study. And then you start analyzing, I think, the facts. And then you actually again conclude with some kind of a problem left behind articulated in the case, so that I think the person who is trying to solve that problem is really get to know exactly what kind of questions to be raised. So this is the structure of a case study, which is standard structure. And of course, your cases within teaching cases, where you have, I think, problems are identified, as I mentioned in the just a sentence ago, that you have a very articulated problem. Many cases that you see are not even articulated as to what the problem is. So I think the first paragraph and the last paragraphs are missing, and that's just the information there. So I think that these are difficult cases to solve. There you need to struggle to figure out as to what exactly the problem is. And then you generate solutions based on your analysis, and then, create the recommendations. Now, so once it is there, the methodology for typically students, I think, can benefit by using step-by-step approach. First thing, when the case comes in your hand, which you'll get in a short while, I think you need to read the first paragraph, and then I think read the first line of the next paragraph and the last line of that paragraph, and then go through the paragraph. So actually, you can have a bird's eye view as to what exactly is the case. And then you identify the problem and start really underlining now what kind of facts are there which can support the potential problem and a solution. And particularly, the student make the mistake of reading the case and not reading the, some kind of graphs and, associated the tables and I think appendices. They contain a lot of material, hidden material, which gives you insights and link with the description of the case very clearly. So if you miss that, I think you are in the air. So you don't have the specific recommendations, you have generic recommendations. So that's the problem. I think you should analyze the, firstly identify the facts, make a list of facts around the problem that you identified in the first reading. And the second reading is a lot more, I think, seriously done, in the sense that you go through the relevant facts and underline them, and then collect them in one place and, build it around a framework which you create by way of, linking it with the problem. And then out of the problem, you start analyzing the, I think, case and try and look for the linkages of the facts to one another. And then you generate, I think, one or two or three solutions, and then decide a criteria on the basis of what you will take the decision. And then I think based on that criteria, you arrive at the best possible decision. Now, another problem that I see student producing is they produce towards the end the recommendations, which are more shopping list. Something like, just if the market share is going down, so increase advertising expenditure. But that may be a solution, but that may not be a solution. Problem could be somewhere else. So you'll have to generate all the possible solutions and do not produce the laundry list. Have a comprehensive approach where I think your recommendation have a tight integration with each other. So which means you essentially have to evolve or synthesize a particular framework, which not only helps you in building your judgment, which I think I began with, that's the word that I began, wisdom cannot be taught. So that builds the wisdom, it creates the, I think, some kind of rules, theoretical rules, which can actually be, I think, carried forward in future situations. And you derive then learnings both in the form of theory. Theory essentially means it tells the cause and effect relationship. That's a simple definition of theory. So you find out if X thing is happening, if market share is going down, what's causing this? It's quite possible your product is bad. It's quite possible the customer has shifted away. They've been used to your product, but now the new product has come into the market. It could be possible that I think you have become careless in terms of providing services, etc., which has lost the customers. Or simply the structure would have undergone change. New technology might have come. So this is just not one solution. So there are multiple reasons. So you have to tie in all these reasons into one place, into a more cohesive framework, so that you can actually come up with an answer which is coherent, defendable, fact-based, and therefore I think acceptable to the for whomsoever you are presenting that, either for the board you are working or you are taking your own decision. I think the situation in your own life can also be tackled by similarly using the case methodology, where you can solve your own problems. So typically human nature is that you actually jump to the conclusion as soon as you see the facts, because we already have some kind of theories in the mind. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. So sorry for that interruption. I think I'll just remember. So I think towards the end, I think you drive your learnings, and from there, I think you'll build in for future. First, what I was suggesting that I think you already have some kind of biases or previous theories which may not be true now, given the changed circumstances. So it's a dynamic system. Actually, you learn dynamically through the case methodology, and that's the reason why the case method is, I think, supposed to be one of the best. I think any professional discipline would like to have the case-based kind of thing. I think legal systems have been practicing cases for a long time. Similarly, medical people, I think hospitals and I think the teaching institutions are combined together for the same reason, so that you can have practical experiences. So this all, I suppose, I have on my side. If there are any questions, I should be happy to take. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. It will definitely help our participants with respect to case analysis and presentation. Now, let me take the opportunity to introduce our next guest of honor, Professor Padmakali Banerjee. Professor Padmakali Banerjee is presently working as Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean Academics in Amity University, Haryana. She is a thought leader, a public speaker, an institution builder, and a leadership coach. A doctorate from University of Delhi, she is the fellow of prestigious Somatic Inkbolt Society. Her current research area include optimism and well-being, curriculum design, and leadership studies. A close associate of corporate functionaries, her forte relates to mentoring, management consulting, and leadership development, extending to an area of industry like IT, oil, FMCG, and hospitality. She heads Center for BRIC Studies, a center of excellence practice, research, and outreach. She spearheaded many innovative initiatives, including the introduction of a flexible credit system, industry, academic integration, and internalization. She pioneered the skill development program at the university. Her concept and contribution on the Indian skill development ecosystem have been widely recognized and acclaimed on both national and international platforms. She is the recipient of prestigious 2018 Greenbelt Leadership Award from USG/BCI for her contribution towards environment. She has received Award of Excellence from SPA, the prestigious Indian School Psychology Association, for her contribution in the promotion of psychology 2019. Her book, The Power of Positivity, Optimism, and the Seventh Sense, published by Sage in Popular Choice globally. Her REACH model PROMA is used for imparting counseling, education, and training schedule amongst the organization and general public to improve life and abilities. She has developed a psychometric test, Optimism Index, a predictive tool for success. It measures optimism quotient, OQ, popularly used by the corporate. In her professional career, she has exhibited a passion for entrepreneurship by empowering youth and developing leaders in different walks of life. Her dream is to transform the world into a happier place to live and by instilling hope and optimism in today's youth. We welcome you, ma'am, and we are very privileged to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me here. And I definitely want to mention that I'm so grateful that Professor Hoti, director, has asked me to be part of this interesting forum. And I compliments to Uma Gulati and the entire team and all the students. I mean, people I was seeing have participated from many different parts of India. So great to the team who have really been part of this analysis. Best wishes to each one of you. I would like to say that, very interestingly, if you see the entire case analysis, because all business schools cannot do without case analysis. So you typically replicate a real life situation, and most of the times it is uncertain. Most of the times you do not have the entire data, yet you come out with a kind of a decision making. So typically, if you see in a business school or when you're doing a master's program in the business, you would do at least 200 to 300 case analysis. So what it does to you, it helps you in helping you to evolve as a leader, evolve as a corporate leader, evolve as a person who can innovate. It helps individual to also do problem solving constantly when they're at work. Sometimes you did not, these are all, sometimes when you talk about simulation, you will see that you do not need to experience everything. The best example that I can tell you is this last pandemic. So whatever the cases which have been written on this difficulties that, why corporates are facing crisis, why people lost jobs, what happened during the cut down in terms of money. So this need not be replicated every time. So you can read up the best of the cases and look at any kind of future crisis in an organization. Similarly, I remember that a couple of years back when I written a book on cases, one of my case which was taken up where I was working with an entrepreneur, where we talked about how to bring organic, stuff to the market. At that time, it wasn't so popular. So the name of the case was Ashmeet Says Organic. So they had a startup who was working with the farmers to get the organic products. And now you will see I Say Organic across the Delhi NCR. And what happened is this case was picked up in a HR book written by Professor Ashish Sharma. So if you see that, there are typically very important and interesting areas. For example, today management students need to not only look at getting into a job in a typical company, but many of them are joining tech companies, startup companies, where they need to be, multitasking, where they need to be good in innovation, good in adaptability. So I talk about few things which are very important and critical in today's time would be when you are a manager, when you are starting up in a company, when you should have that entrepreneurial mindset. So what cases does is helps you to build your entrepreneurial mindset, which means it is a combination of risk taking. It is a combination of adaptability to the environment. It is a combination of new knowledge. So constantly the students of business today have to become, lifelong learners, because gone are those days then when people did 2 years of master's program and they would easily go up in the hierarchy in the company. Today, if you do not, acquire new skills, very soon you will not be part of the leadership, group that you see. So entrepreneurial mindset, I would definitely say, would be very critical. So while doing case analysis, you should look at, where we are moving. Don't be disconnected to the global environment. I very strongly feel that there are about, the 17 sustainable developmental goals, each one of you, as students of business. It is very critical to look at those 17 areas and pick out case studies through which you can understand the global goals, sustainable developmental goals. And it is possible that some people may be interested in the area of healthcare. Some people would be interested in the area of the way, there's a climate change taking place. So today, there is no glass ceiling. You can go to anywhere. So you can move from one sector to the other. So what cases does is it opens up the door. You think out of box, so you start looking at possible solutions. And through that, what it does to you, you become a great decision maker. So I'm sure in this analysis and this competition, this would be great that to understand how you are going to work on different cases. And my compliments to the entire team. I could see this is the 15th case study analysis that you are working on. So great going, and my best wishes. In my latest book that she was talking about, there are about few cases which are also talking about corporate people undergoing mental health issues. So any of you can pick up, it's all there, and the power of positivity, you'll get some very interesting caselets which you can pick up to understand how corporate living today is working, people working in the pressure cookers, and how do you handle that amount of stress around you of the uncertain times. So my best compliments to each one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening our audience. Now, before moving forward, I must say, occasions like this provide us opportunity to test our knowledge and understanding. We all are very curious to know what the best of brains thinks about the case which has been taken up today. Now, without taking much time, I would request our esteemed guests, Professor M. Akbar and Professor Padmakali Banerjee, Honorable Vice Chairman, sir, to kindly release the case for further process. Sir and ma'am.
Yeah. So it's a great moment, and we take great pride in releasing the case analysis of the Geeta Rattan Business School.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Akbar, sir. I think we lost the connectivity with Akbar, sir. So as you can see on the screen, this is the case which is taken up today. The Serum Institute of India COVID-19 vaccine pricing. May I now request our faculty coordinators to kindly start sending the case to our participants. Participants will get the case in their respective case folio group. Now, I would like to invite Professor Uma Gulati to extend vote of thanks.
Thanks, Ritu.
Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable Vice Chairman, Sir Shri Anirudh Jindal, our most valued invited guest, Professor Mohammad Akbar and Professor Padmakali Banerjee, respected directors, sir, faculty members, and participants from different colleges and universities. Here we come to end of our inaugural program. I take this opportunity to thank our Chairman, Sir Shri Anirudh Jindal, Vice Chairman, Sir Shri our Chairman, Sir Shri R.N. Jindal, Vice Chairman, Sir Shri Anirudh Jindal for constant support and encouragement to carry out such events. If we put all our gratitude into words, they will be less. So our big thanks to management of Geeta Rattan International Business School. Our sincere thanks to Professor Mohammad Akbar and Professor Padmakali Banerjee for gracing the event and giving excellent coverage on the importance of cases. I'm sure our participants are inspired by your great words. We once again express our thanks for being with us at the inaugural ceremony of 15th National Case Analysis and Presentation Competition. Thanks to all heads and faculty members of different colleges and universities for registering their students for participation in this event. We wish all the participants best of luck. And once again, thanks to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now we have some general instructions for the students, for the participants. The rules are already shared with you all. So teams are required to submit their PowerPoint presentation for final round, latest by 12:45 p.m. No PPTs will be accepted after that. PPTs have to be submitted once and named with team code. Now, I would like to brief our teams about the judgment criteria for round 1. The teams will be judged by the preliminary evaluation panel based on the 4 specified criteria out of total 50 marks. First criteria, diagnosis and analysis. Second criteria, alternative or solution developed. Third criteria, constructive suggestions. And fourth criteria is interactive discussion with the panel. So each criteria, first criteria is of 20 marks and rest is of 10 marks. So I truly believe the engagement of participants for next few hours will certainly make the case analysis competition fruitful, productive and enjoyable. I wish all the best to all the participants. Thank you so much.